one of the companies that we enjoy dealing with every year. They're a very, very fun group of people, and so I'm delighted to introduce the CEO of OSCRE, Lisa Stanley. Lisa, how are you?
Good morning, Jerry. Good to see you.
Good to see you as well. Welcome. Welcome to Conference
me.
Live. My pleasure. What are you seeing coming out of the show, and what's the interesting innovations and new thought leadership that you're seeing this year?
I think since this is my first Realcomm conference, I might be looking at it from a little different perspective than perhaps some of the more seasoned veterans that have been here. But I think one of the best things is it allows us to connect with new people that perhaps haven't been a part of OSCRE or even heard of OSCRE in some cases, and also to reconnect with some of the folks that we've worked with diligently over the years to develop standards. And that's really what OSCRE is all about. It stands for the Open Standards Consortium for Real Estate. And our role in developing standards on a broader scope is really about helping real estate organizations manage change. I don't think there's anybody here that's an attendee or an exhibitor sharing their case studies that doesn't have to look at that as probably their primary challenge. So we develop standards that address a lot of different issues within the real estate industry, and also assist organizations on the implementation. That's probably one of the biggest challenges for people.
Why are standards so important to managing change?
I think it's pretty simple. The primary importance for organizations is it allows them to better manage the data that they have, and we've heard a lot of discussions about big data here. But it also helps them communicate both internally, externally with their business partners, across borders, and really across the globe. And we look at real estate as an international industry, and one of the things that I think has really helped hold it back to some degree is the lack of implementation of standards. So that when people are talking about space management, for instance, that there's some common understanding of what that really means. One of the tools that we have for members is a data dictionary that currently consists of over 5,000 terms.
Wow.
And it really can provide a very effective tool for organizations internally to identify what constitutes specific terms within their business lines.
What's an example of a success story that you feel the proper implementation of standards that at OSCRE's kind of through OSCRE has done for someone? Where do you see OSCRE making a difference in the last, say, 12 months?
Well, I think, Jerry, one of the best examples that we have is a project that we're finishing up with Zurich. Certainly a company that many of the folks here are familiar with, and it is actually forming the basis for our space management work group. Zurich's project is, by their own accounts, providing for greater efficiency, more accurate information, and improving the performance of their employees. So it's a win-win all the way around. The other part of it is, typically in the past, we've seen standard development take anywhere from 18 to 24 months, sometimes even longer. Using what has been implemented with Zurich, and we're so grateful to them for that, it's really allowed us to fast track the development of that group of standards, which is concentrated the office space area, but it allows us to be able to get this standard to the point where we can do an implementation at the end of the summer, so about a 6-month time frame as opposed to 18 to 24 months, and also put us in a position where once we get through that implementation, 2 new features that we're adding are a user guide, not just we develop the standards, but how can we help you implement them, and also a case study, so that those people that are out there looking, trying to figure out, is this really something they want to be part of, it gives them a summary of not just what the project involved, but also the success that was experienced by the company.
What are the steps to getting involved with OSCRE? How does one kind of make that decision?
We make it really easy.
You do?
We do. We have several different categories of membership that address everything from small business needs to executive members, and quite frankly, several categories in between. A new category of membership that we approved at a board meeting earlier this week addresses associations' involvement. All they have to do is visit our website at OSCRE.org, OSCRE.org, and they can find the information that they need. Primarily, our standards are being used in the UK, in North America, but we also have a project that we'll be presenting in terms of a case study with REDX that was completed in the Netherlands. So we're real excited. I think this conference has really given us the opportunity to identify folks who are interested in developing standards, sometimes for the first time, but also it provides for a larger collaborative group of people to come together. And I think that's the important thing in the development of standards.
I think for me, listening, I go, gee, would I want to join an organization that's going to hold me to a higher, it sounds like it could be a little bit daunting and a little bit intimidating to a company going, gosh, I don't know that I want to take on all of that. What's the advantage to other than making yourself be more compliant with standards? What are some of the other advantages?
I think there are multiple advantages. Probably one of the best things is that it allows organizations internally to communicate better. It allows organizations to communicate with other organizations outside of their own more effectively. So if the goal is to try and improve performance reporting, it provides them with a tool to be very effective at doing that. And it saves time. I mean, the bottom line is time is money in every organization.
Yeah, it's funny. It reminds me of how when you're training for a marathon, they say the best thing you can do is join a group of people who are also training for a marathon. And it sounds a little bit like that. I'm assuming that there's the networking opportunity also, do you find that business kind of cross-pollinates when businesses start talking through OSCRE?
I think they do, and the interesting thing is, as you look at the development of standards, they're a lot more free in sharing information because they find that as conversation proceeds, they've got a lot more things in common than they have differences. And everybody is trying to improve the way real estate as an industry is able to perform. So it's wonderful to see people from benchmarking groups, from REITs, from asset management companies come together to develop standards that will help all of them in terms of their business.
You might hate me, but I'm going to ask you this. Looking into a crystal ball and looking back at what you've just done with your Zurich project, what are some of the standards that no one's even thinking about yet that are going to be on the horizon? What are some of the new things you're seeing in this area?
Well, I think one of the things, I won't say that nobody's thinking about, I'll take the alternative position, which is everybody's talking about, is energy and sustainability. I think that's going to be certainly an area that we're looking at very soon in terms of development of standards, and also bring some new people to the table that have not participated in standards development. It's amazing to me how many people I've run into that didn't know OSCRE existed, and didn't know that we had a data dictionary, that they've talked about struggles that they've had in trying to internally develop one of those documents when we have the tools that honestly can help them fast track what they're trying to do.
What is the best part of what you do? What makes you excited about being part of an organization like OSCRE?
I think the best part of my job, and I've only been on the job for a short period of time, less than 2 months, is looking at the ability to really influence changing the industry, and that we can become that conduit for helping organizations manage change.
Which ultimately filters down to, I don't know, a better ecology, a better economy.
That's certainly a big part of it. In fact, we've had conversations here. One of the ironies is real estate as an industry has probably been slower to implement technology than a lot of other industries out there. And the development of standards can really help them overcome that, that lag time, I think, in a lot of ways, but help them be more efficient at what they do. And when you look at some of the people that are exhibiting through their case studies out here and some of the speakers that we've heard over the last couple of days, it really, I think, strikes a chord that the timing is perfect for OSCRE to really take off to the next level and expand the standards development that we've been involved in for years now.
Thank you so much. Thank you for taking the time to kind of give us an insider's look at what you guys are doing.
Thanks for having me.
Pleasure. Lisa, thank you.
Likewise.